What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen. I'm here at the Shared Universe Podcast Studio. I love doing comic book launches. I love doing Kickstarter launches. I am here with my man, Rich Davis, who is launching right now, as of the second.
Literally right now, man.
Literally right now. He's hit the button, the big red button that says launch on it, on a third part of a trilogy, the Dracula trilogy. This one's called Reign of Dracula. And Rich, so I have to start off this stream, this launch, with an apology. I have here in my inbox from 2.5 years ago an email from you, which says, "Hey Ming, my name is Rich Davis. I'm the writer and creator of a new horror comic called Cult of Dracula. I'm working with Jerry Carita. Jerry recommended I reach out to you about being a guest on your podcast. Dated March 15th, 2021. So I did not reply. I don't know why. I was probably, watching Star Wars for the 15th time or traveling. I don't know. Then I have another email here from August 17th, 2021. Good morning. I represent Rich Davis. Had an amazing time speaking with you at one point. Rich wanted me to reach out to inquire about a signing session. Again, I don't think I replied to this one either. So all of this is to say, better late than never. Finally, yes. I have you. How are you, my friend? And congratulations.
Thank you. I'm doing very well. I hope you are. I'm really excited right now. Obviously, Kickstarter's launching literally, like you said, right now. I've never done a Kickstarter of my own before, so this is pretty exciting. I honestly think I'm almost as nervous today launching this Kickstarter as I was 2 years ago when Cult of Dracula first hit shelves. That was my first comic book, and it did exceptionally well. So I'm hoping that this Kickstarter will do the same.
I have no doubt. Unlike other people, just like I have a comic, I'm going to Kickstarter it, and you see a couple pages here and there, and you know a little bit about it. You're established now. Started out with Cult of Dracula, went on to Rise of Dracula, and now we're at Reign of Dracula. Both of those two, they're each 6-issue series. So you're already established, successful. You've built a world already. So, and I'm going to throw up the covers here. So this is one from Cult of Dracula, which is pretty amazing.
It's Caleb Valero, I think.
From our friends over at Source Point Press, and then we got a pretty sweet cover here for Rise of Dracula.
Yeah, that's also Caleb Valero. So,
Caleb, you're amazing. There's no other way
working with her. She was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm gonna guess both of those very successful. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna finish up. So is this in fact a trilogy?
It is. So Cult of Dracula was the first volume, and I told Source Point Press when I first started, I said, we can either do this as one volume of 6 issues, or we can do 3 volumes of 6 issues each, because I always had this story that I wanted to tell in 3 parts. So the first 2 volumes did come out through Source Point Press, and in 2021 and 2022 respectively, and now we're taking Reign of Dracula to Thorny Comics to kind of help Jerry Carita get his company launched. I'm super excited to be working with him. Great dude. I think we're gonna do this thing pretty well.
Yeah, Thorny Comics, the mark of quality. When you want to pick up a quality comic, you think Thorny. That's and full disclosure. Jerry Carita, one of the producers on Comic Book Men, several seasons. We would not have gotten 7 without Jerry Carita. We'll put it that way. And,
I did Swap Shop. That's how Jerry and I met. We both met him on television shows.
Yeah.
I was doing Swap Shop here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And, for some reason, I kind of liked Jerry, and we kept talking and hung out and, started just like really hanging out. We drove a road trip to Pennsylvania to see my friend Tony Todd. Then we went to Hamilton in New York. It's like, I don't know, he should have bought me dinner or something.
It's not too late. Not too late. So yeah, Jerry Carita, he gets stuff done. Guy can bake a mean apple pie as well. So
you never baked for me either.
Again, not too late.
Yeah, right.
Not too late.
I hope he's listening right now. I think he's supposed to join us eventually, right?
Yeah, I think I see him in the background eating something. So, Jerry, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to jump in. Oh, he's ready. All right, here we go.
Come on, man, let me go.
All right, okay. He's waiting in the wings here. Jerry Carita, everybody.
So the apple pie thing, Richard. I
Yeah.
don't want you to be upset about this.
Okay.
Right? When I baked for Ming, I was home in New York. I was in my home kitchen, and I was able to actually use all my own tools and really like go to work on it. When I was working with you, I was always in like a hotel or an Airbnb,
Right.
out in Tennessee. So it's not personal.
I got you.
And
Well, you've got my address now, and you can ship a pie like overnight.
I'll
So
ship you a pie. Buddy. You got it, buddy.
Yeah, I read an earlier interview with you. I think right about when Cult of Dracula: Rise of Dracula came out. You were very insistent that each series had to be 6 issues.
yes,
Is there a reason for that? Not 3, not 4, not 8, not 10, 6.
yeah. So I just thought it was really cool to have a story about a cult that worships vampires, and the number of issues lined up as 666. So
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't have that evil mindset, so I didn't even think about that. That is brilliant.
yeah, right.
Awesome. And that is evil.
Yeah, and you know what? It also, most people when they collect trade paperbacks, they're 5 issues. So I decided, I'm unknown. I got to give people a little bit extra. So I decided to give them one more issue. So our trades are a little bit bigger than everyone else's.
That's metal, man. So one of the stretch goals, maybe like we put blood in the ink, like Kiss.
I would totally do that. I would absolutely do that. I will. Well, okay, maybe not that way. Maybe I'll just slice my palm there or something.
Yeah. So when you conceived this back in 2021, I mean, were you like George Lucasing it? Did you have it mapped out to 18 issues? Okay.
Yeah. So I had what I've always said from the beginning is I'm a film buff, love horror films, obviously. So I always said, if you look at Cult of Dracula as a Tobe Hooper, Southern Gothic, Texas Chainsaw Massacre style book, Rise of Dracula is more of a John Carpenter near future dystopia. And then Reign of Dracula is a full on George Miller, Mad Max, the world is fucked apocalypse. And I hope I can say that on there or you can beat me out.
Your show. It's your Kickstarter, man. You say whatever you want.
So yeah, it's I always had the basic story, the arc, mapped out, and then as I was writing it, the characters kind of told me where they wanted to go. So a lot of the side plots and side characters, their stories grew bigger, and some of the main characters I ended up chopping a few things, but I think that happens during the creative process. Things didn't go exactly where I intended, but we hit all the high points from my original outline.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And so how long did it take you from beginning to from conception to having that book in your hands?
Yeah, so I actually started writing Cult of Dracula in 2013. It was originally a stage play. We performed it at the Browncoat Pub and Theater in Wilmington, North Carolina. Did exceptionally well. Ran for a month of sold-out shows. It won several North Carolina Theater Awards. Some of those I think you can see on my shelf behind me.
Yeah, hardware.
Yeah. And then from there, I actually met Tony Todd, and Tony was insistent that I not give up on it. And so we were going to adapt it into an independent film. And then some things happened in life, and I couldn't afford to really self-finance a film anymore. And I decided to go with a comic book. And so that was about 2018, 2019 when I started adapting it into a comic book script. And then, from there, it, finally released from Source Point Press in 2021, and it was a top 50 best-selling comic book. So, I mean, can't beat that unless you're like top 20 or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, how many comic books say, oh yeah, we have a stage play. We started out as a stage play. Like you could, if you wanted to, I don't know if anyone was running tape or film on that stage play. It was like, hey, you could watch that. That's out there somewhere.
It is. I think at one time someone put it up on YouTube. But yeah, we always do all of the plays we did. We would do, just like an archival recording of it. So somebody had it on YouTube. I don't know if it's still there, but you can probably still find it if it is there.
That's awesome. And then, eventually when this does hit, say a streaming service, big budget movie, you're like, we already have, we kind of have a pilot already, which is
and so Cult has been under development as a film for a long time. and it's actually in production right now with BR Films.
Oh,
So,
amazing! All right, so you're already there. So yeah, so if you back Reign of Dracula, you're a part of something huge already, which is amazing. And if you want to pick up Cult of Dracula, Rise of Dracula, I saw both available on pretty much everywhere, but I always say Amazon's the easiest one, one that they can drone drop to your doorstep in like a day or two.
Absolutely. Amazon, Barnes & Noble has it. I actually saw it in Target once, which was really cool. So anywhere that Simon & Schuster books are sold, we're distributed through Simon & Schuster. And then if you can, find it at a local comic book shop. I highly encourage you to support those guys. They are the absolute backbone of our industry. And, I can't do what I do without those local comic book shops.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll always support you. I mean, absolutely.
Also, if you guys, if you want to catch up on Cult and Rise, you can actually buy both of them through the Kickstarter campaign too. Yep. So if you want to pick up the new book, the new book is going to be the first 2 issues of Reign combined into a 48-page, kind of almost a graphic novel size double issue. But you can also pick up Cult and Rise to catch up on those, the whole story in the campaign as well. Otherwise, yeah, definitely local comic book shops. Rich actually, one of the reason that we know each other is I produced the show, and part of it took place in another comic book shop in Tennessee, and that was Rich's shop, Nirvana Comics, out in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I almost forgot about the double issue thing, but I'm really excited we're doing that because when I wanted to do I felt really weird about doing a Kickstarter because I don't like asking people for money. It's just weird to me. So it took a lot of kind of coaxing and cajoling to get me to do it. But I'm glad that Jerry kind of agreed with me that we need to do something special. So our Kickstarter, so Reign of Dracula is going to be distributed in comic book shops everywhere through Diamond and all that. But our Kickstarter is going to be the only place that you can get these double-sized issues with unique cover art, and we're doing the interior in black and white. So, and the black and white issues will never be reproduced anywhere outside of Kickstarter. So I really thought this was a rad way to do it and give our Kickstarter backers something really, really cool.
That's cool. Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
No, it's also there's something that Rich actually impressed on me that we needed to do with this Kickstarter, because I did a Kickstarter for myself, as you know, Ming. I launched it live with you a month and a half ago. That went really well. And I've done one with Blue Juice Comics now, and I've also just been looking at a lot of them and supporting them myself. And, Rich as a shop owner wanted to make sure that the prices were accessible. So even though it's a double issue, it's 48 pages, it's about the price that a lot of other campaigns charge for a single issue. Mm-hmm. And it's never going to be printed as a double issue again. So when this comes out in stores, it'll be 6 months of issues, 6 individual 24-page issues. Mm-hmm. And, so the 48-page double issue with these covers will never be available anywhere else ever again.
Yep.
That's amazing. So, yeah. So grab off the Kickstarter. You're getting something special for sure.
Yeah.
Or if not, it'll be at comic shops around you. But, hey, we're telling you about it now. We're giving you the leg up right here.
Maybe they should, buy both. Buy it on the Kickstarter and then go buy it in their comic book store. I don't know. That sounds like a good idea to me for some reason. What do you think, Jerry?
I think it's great. Ming, do you remember about 45 seconds ago when Rich said he's shy about asking people for money?
Right.
Yeah, let's play that tape back.
It was memories,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it that way. I see it as getting a lot of information about something before you purchase it, and then getting it. Usually people who launch Kickstarter and giving away these things, they give a lot. It's extra. You always get something extra. So, but from your end, hopefully we've turned you around on that. Because I think Kickstarter is a great way to launch anything, but especially
I agree. I've started to understand a lot, from Jerry, that it's really not asking people for money. It's just, you're really giving them something that they can't get anywhere else. Yeah. And it's just a way of funding the creative process, because something I've learned in the past 3 years, as a writer, it is expensive as hell to produce a comic book. I mean, you got to pay your artist, you got to pay your colorist, your flatter, your inker, your letterer, your cover.
Right, and that's even before anything's published. Or then you got the printing cost, shipping,
Yep.
Shipping
And then
to
I
you,
get
then
paid.
shipping out to other people. Yes, it
Yeah,
ain't.
I get paid like 8-9 months later after the
Right.
first issue hits shelves. But the artists, they've got this crazy idea that when they turn in a page, they should get money for it.
Wow,
I
what
don't
a
know where they
concept!
get this idea, but
How greedy of them.
I know they want to get paid for their work. Gosh.
Yeah. Speaking of artists, so I believe I have 7 covers here,
I think
and
that's
I'm gonna
right.
go. I'm gonna go through them. You can tell me as much as you want about them, but this is one of the first ones here.
That's that Jerry can probably tell you more about this cover because that's Bella Racklin. He's worked with her on Samurai Cicada. I absolutely love this cover. It's very unique. Her use of color and lighting is just fantastic. And it really captures kind of the soul of Lucy's journey in the book. So if you're not familiar with Cult and Rise, Lucy and Mina are the 2 daughters of Dracula, and they're by the time we get to Reign, one is taking a journey through hell, the other's taking a journey through heaven. So it's pull a lot of Dante's Inferno and Paradise Lost, or Paradiso. Kind of play with that a little bit. So yeah, Bella did a great job with that cover, and I really hope to work with her again.
That's amazing.
Ming, she did a pinup for Accelerators way back, and that's so I've been following her for the last couple of years online, and so I just reached out to her, and she was into it.
Yeah,
but she's great. She's like she loves the X-Men. She does a lot of X-Men commission work.
Yeah, obviously. So yeah, I'll throw that up again. Yeah, that's a beautiful cover for sure. This is number 2 over here.
That's Les Lyndon Garner. He's actually our interior artist as well. And I asked him, these are really cool because all 6 issues have a cover like this, and they're connecting covers. So those are really, really cool. If you go on the World of Dracula Facebook or Instagram page, you can actually see all 6 of the covers assembled together. Les had this insane idea to paint them on giant 24x36 canvases. And so when you see them put together, it's really, really impressive.
That's awesome. And you were saying connecting covers, like that's a sure sign of a true comic book fan.
Right.
Also the sign of a true comic book retailer as well. It's like, hey, if they're connecting, you need all 6 of them.
You have to have them.
You have to have them. No doubt. So this is the 3rd cover over here.
Oh yeah, I adore this cover. This is Rob Reziano. Rob and I have worked together before. He did a cover for Rise of Dracula. He did a really awesome Vampirella cover for Dynamite. I just love working with Rob. He's an artist that I think people need to put on their radar, and he needs to work a lot more. But this is again Lucy in Hell. And this right here, this cover actually got me put into Facebook jail for the first time in my life. Apparently,
badge of honor.
Yeah, man, I'm like kind of proud of that. It pissed somebody off enough that they wanted to report it.
Wow, I mean, if you've offended somebody or a whole group,
right?
You've done well.
I encourage everybody out there. You should go and you should get these books, and you should do like those organized record burnings they used to do in the 80s that made all these crappy metal songs go platinum. But yeah, buy this book and burn it, but buy it in huge numbers. I want to see bonfires.
Right. Read it first. Tell all your friends about it. Have them read it, then burn it.
Yeah. You have to read it to know how bad and evil it is, right?
If it's evil, I guess it'll catch fire quicker. So
exactly, yeah. They say Bibles don't burn. This will go up like tinder, man, like boom.
Yeah, for sure. Cover number 4 here is this one's amazing.
Yeah, that's Sean Cross. This is a piece of his that we licensed. It's the only cover we're using that wasn't specifically created for the book. I've wanted to work with Sean for a long time. I met him at New York Comic Con in 2021. He does this fantastic art that deals with mental health issues, and he's basically painting his own personal struggles into his art. And so I got up with him, and I was like, I really want to license this piece. I fell in love with it. I don't know why it spoke to me so much, but it just screamed Reign of Dracula to me. And so he was very kind to allow us to license that. And I think it's one of the best covers we have, honestly.
I love it. And here's a cover number 5 here, which is also amazing, disturbing, perhaps.
Yes, that's Tyler J. Haddix, good friend of mine. He did this also as an original painting for me. It's been a couple years now, maybe 2 years. I knew I wanted to use it, but we never had the opportunity to, never had the right fit until we came to Reign of Dracula. And this just, Reign of Dracula is an apocalypse. So boom, here we go. I love it. You've got the Ouroboros up in the sky, which we use as the symbol for Dracula's cult. And if you look really closely at the way those bodies are assembled, it makes a skull, the atomic bomb explosion.
Oh, yep, there it is. Yeah, the nose hole. Yeah, everything. That's great.
And we wanted to do an homage to Salvador Dali in this, and I think Tyler really captured
Nailed it.
Yep.
Nailed it. Cover number 6 here.
Yep. That's Jonathan McDaniel. He's another Tennessee boy. He's out of Memphis. Worked with him. He did a couple of retailer covers for I think he did one for Cult and Rise of Dracula, and also did one for my Frankenstein book, Prometheus in Chains. So this character in the middle, that's Lily. Readers of Cult and Rise haven't met her yet, so I can't tell you a whole lot about her.
All right, no spoilers.
Right. She plays a huge role. You can probably tell some things about her, being as she's got Lucy and Mina's heads in her hands. So you can tell that she's the goodest of the good guys in this book.
Of
right?
course, yes. And cover number 7 here.
Oh yeah, Brian Silverbacks, man. Brian, he was nominated.
Brian Silverbacks.
Yeah, he
right.
was nominated for I think not an Eisner, a Ringo Best Cover Artist.
Yeah.
And so we're honored to be working with him. And since he started doing these kind of watercolor covers, man, he's nailed. I think this type of cover could really be a calling card for him. That kind of the way Peach Momoko kind of created her style and Shannon Mayer created his style. This could be Brian's style. It's really awesome. I fell in love with it the first time I saw it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm a huge Brian Silverbacks fan. I think he's way underrated. Yeah, that's a great style. I think, Brian, if you're watching or listening, it's pretty awesome. I may have to commission something in that style at some point. Yeah. Just saw him in Chattanooga, so I'm very happy that you guys are working together.
Yeah.
So all 7 of these available on the Kickstarter in certain tiers?
Yep. Absolutely. Jerry knows more about that because I don't understand Kickstarter yet. I'm learning.
Each one of the you can get any one cover that you want as a trade dress with the logo, or you can get a virgin version of each one. Both of them very reasonably priced. And then there are a couple of tiers where you can choose any 2 that you want. There are a couple where you can choose any 3 that you want. If you want all 7, there are big discounts. So by the time you get up to, you can get all 14. You can get 7 trades and 7 virgin variants. And there's a pretty steep discount for that. You can get all 14 plus Cult of Dracula and Rise of Dracula. And there's like a 24% discount when you get that big. So it gets actually, for people who are trying to collect all the covers, and there are a lot of completists out there who like to do that, there's some really good deals. And the big thing too is, so I just hit launch a few minutes ago. We've already got a couple of backers, and there are early bird specials. So for the larger tiers, if you're getting all 7 trades, if you're getting all 7 virgin variants, if you're getting all 14 covers, there's an additional $10 or $15 off for those tiers, but just for the next 48 hours. So that'll end at 6:00 on Wednesday.
But wait, there's more.
Oh,
tell
me more. Yes.
So we just got approval today. I currently have a book out in stores called Prometheus in Chains. It's a play on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein set in the post-World War II atomic age, where Victor and Elizabeth are among the Jewish scientists who fled Nazi Germany in 1939. That part's true. They came to the U.S. and worked on the Manhattan Project. Elizabeth dies of cancer after being exposed to radiation, and her death drives Victor into this spiral of addiction, depression, and an obsession with bringing her back to life. It's a great book. I'm very proud of it. It's one I want people to get in their hands. It's I've said many times that Prometheus is the best thing I've ever written. It's probably the best thing I'll ever write. But short story long there. Getting to the point, what we got approval today to do from our friends over at Red 5 Comics. Anyone who backs Reign of Dracula's Kickstarter campaign in the first 48 hours will get free digital copies of all 6 issues of Prometheus in Chains as a bonus. So.
You're just piling on the goods.
Yeah, man. I mean, why not? I wanted it to be accessible. I wanted it to be something that people were like, wow, he's really giving us a great deal here. He's working hard for this because I don't know. I felt weird asking people for money and just that they could just get it going into a comic book store. So here it's like, I want it to be accessible. I want it to be at an affordable price. I don't want it to be $50 to get one issue. I want it to be something that more people can put in their hands and read. And Jerry's been really cool to help us craft some tiers that do that and give people bang for their buck.
Yeah, I don't see it. You're totally not asking people for money. You're just flat out giving stuff away.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah. They're paying a small fee, but like you're like, here, take this. This is all awesome, and I think that's what I like about Kickstarter. Initially, yes, you are asking for money, but you're like, hey, you're kind enough to support me. Here's everything I got. Here's everything I can give you at that price, and probably more if I can afford it. So, yeah,
we're kind of like a humble bundle, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. So I have to ask, why Dracula? Why are you drawn to Dracula? Do you remember the first time you saw Dracula?
I do. So when I was a kid, I might be dating myself a little bit here, but there was a late night kind of Elvira ripoff show that broadcast out of Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in Middle Tennessee, a little town called Sparta. And I used to sneak up on Friday nights. My dad knew I was awake, I'm sure, but I was sneaking, and I'd go into the living room and I'd watch the show, and she would always show the Hammer films. And so I want to say it was Horror of Dracula was my first exposure. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, got it. Those guys were
legends, man.
Legends. And though that style of film, that style of storytelling, and that character just stuck with me. And it seems like everything I write always comes back to Dracula. So I was like, why the hell not? Let's build a whole horror universe around this character. Everything in all of my horror comics, everything centers around Dracula. Something a little bit different in this world. Dracula is a title. It's not a name. So it's like queen or empress or something like that. So it allowed us to tell these generational stories about this bloodline moving along. We take it all the way back to the Garden of Eden and the story of Lilith. I was doing my research on vampires, and I discovered that our Western culture is one of the few in human history that has male vampires. So it was very easy to flip Dracula into a feminine character. And it allowed me to kind of link, Baba Yaga, La Llorona, the Cherokee Deer Woman, all of these, Medusa, all these, quote unquote evil women that we've written all these scary stories about. In this world, they were all Dracula, just interpreted differently by the people who observed her and their cultural backgrounds. And so, yeah, everything I write always just seems to spin around this character. And I haven't quite figured out why. I'm working that out in therapy, but it's working pretty well in these books.
I love it. If you love it, you love it. There might be a reason, might be multiple reasons, there may be no reason, but the fact that you're able to channel that into comic books, write awesome stories and spread them out to the world, that's pretty amazing. The story of Dracula goes back eons at this point. Here in 2023, what is the state of Dracula in 2023? If I were to ask you that,
As far as like
are people still into it? Like, do you meet?
Yeah.
Okay.
People love it. I mean, just recently, last year, there were 2 films based on Dracula. Renfield with Nicolas Cage and The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Both really solid films for different reasons. Dracula is one of those characters. It resonates with people. It's one of the at one time it was the most reproduced character in history. As people, it was adapted into stage plays, comic books, movies, TV series. There's just something about Dracula that touches us all. So it's one of those. It's just one of those figures that I don't think people ever lose interest in the character.
Yeah, they're it's at the same time dark, romantic. Everyone's got their own take on it. Plus Dracula, whichever version you believe or support, bloodsucker. So yeah, gotta love it.
Vampires, man, they're fun to tell stories about, and there's so much you can do with them.
Yeah, we have a question here from a longtime supporter, Christopher Hewitt. Is there a villain in the book?
Yeah. Okay. You want me to tell you who the villain is? There is a villain, but it's kind of up to you to figure out who that villain is.
Okay.
One of the lines that shows up repeatedly throughout the whole series, from cult to rise to reign, is perspective and point of view. Where you're sitting, Ming, something might look villainous, but from where I'm sitting, it seems justified. Right. So it's perspective and point of view. Where you are when you experience something is just as important as what you experience. So there's a great argument to be made. Dracula makes the argument very convincingly in all 3 books that humanity is the villain. Jonathan and Arthur, they'll tell you that Dracula is the villain. So it depends on what you personally take from it. And this is going to sound arrogant. I hate to say it this way, but it's not a simple story. It's not an A to B to C to Z. It's complicated. It's a character exploration. And so your own personal ideas of what is good, what is evil, that's going to influence who you see as the villain in the book.
That's amazing. Or you can just read Jerry's comment that he's posted up here, which yes, you can read all that, but
like Rich said, it kind of is all perspective, and this is like from my perspective. By the time we get to, we actually had this whole conversation because normally you want to boil down a story into like a log line, which is like a sentence that kind of summarizes what the story is about. And it's impossible with this story because we're in the 3rd part of the story. So, you kind of have to explain a lot about what Dracula even is. In this story, it's a title. It's not a person. It's not Count Dracula, but the myth of Count Dracula is based on, Dracula, who's in this story is Lilith, the mother of all demons, and who appears in all different cultures and is sort of the basis of all of our vampire stories in this world. So by the time you get to here, Lilith is like raining hell on Earth, and there's a human resistance led by Arthur and Jonathan, who are all characters from the original Dracula story. So if you look when we look later at the interior pages that we sent you, Ming, there's a dude on a motorcycle looking like Daryl from The Walking Dead, and that's Jonathan Harker. That's our Jonathan Harker, and he's leading a human resistance against these demonic army on Earth. While Mina and Lucy are working their way through heaven and hell to try and find a way to kind of, win the war that way. But there's a lot going on there. So it's hard to really say like who's the villain, because for a while, Mina and Lucy are both they're both Draculas. They're both vampires. So for a while, they've both been monsters killing people.
Sometimes they're heroes.
Yeah.
Right. And let me show you some, I think, is this some of the interior art or the black and white? This is the style on the inside.
Yeah, Les just killed this. This is a great splash page. This is clearly taken from Lucy's journey through hell. Yeah, and I love the previous pages to this, building up to this just incredible splash page. It's another splash, yeah. This one's fun.
How the hell, man? I love it.
Yeah,
that's his whole body torn apart. I was just thinking that looks like fun.
Yeah, I mean, we do that every Friday, right?
If you're gonna go, and get dragged down to hell, that's one way. That's the best way to do it, right there.
And we got these characters in the background on that one. They're the Ruthven sisters, and they were a very happy accident from Rise of Dracula. I wrote them. I wanted kind of this Blade-like scene going to a rave in Rise, and originally they were just going to be one-off characters that just never went back to. But I enjoyed writing them so much, and the people who were reading early drafts of the scripts, they just loved them. These characters hit. So they ended up being, among the most important characters in Rise of Dracula. And so I had to bring them over into Reign of Dracula as well. They get to be the comic relief. If you read Rise of Dracula, their pages are just hysterical. I'm not funny usually, but I think I got lucky and was funny writing these characters, because it's just like, they're just making movie references all the time.
Right.
It's just fun, because Rise needed some of that. It was a heavy read.
Yeah, those are the characters I relate to. The ones just sitting on the sidelines, throwing insults, goofing off, making fun of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the Ruthven sisters. They're awesome.
Can I do a quick shout out? So we were saying earlier about how Rich has been a comic shop owner himself, and we're always encouraging people to shop at your local comic shops. We're up to 8 or 9 backers so far, and one of them picked up our retailer tier. So one of our retailers, it's called Comic Junction in Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh, big shout out!
Big shout out to
guys! Thank you,
Fargo, North. Thank you so much for supporting us. We have 2 retailer tiers for any comic shops that want to carry these versions of the books. That'll, again, only be available for as long as the Kickstarter is going, where you can get either 10 or 20 copies. You can choose your cover. And those are for, half off the retail price. So if you have a shop, it's comic shops are constantly getting squeezed by, publishers and everything. We wanted to make sure we had something in here that was good for them.
Yeah, I thought Jerry was going to kill me when I insisted we do a retailer tier and we discount it that deeply. Yeah. I was talking to him on the phone, and I could just see his head exploding because,
Come on, Jerry. It is. Rich obviously knows how it is, and right. I think that's awesome, man.
I want to be clear. I wasn't that against it, but he did have to explain to
drama. Me. Did you produce TV, man? I'm dramatizing this. Come on.
I know. I appreciate.
We're gonna do another take.
I don't want to be the villain. I just don't want to be the villain in the story.
Right.
Make me the villain. Don't make me the villain.
That's awesome, though, man. I mean, I don't know any. I haven't seen many Kickstarter do retailer incentives, so but that comes from our world, so that's great.
It's something that I know, and I know. Because when I was running Nirvana day to day, I would get approached by people on their Kickstarters all the time, like, "Hey, would you want to back this?" And my first question was like, "Is there a retailer tier?"
Yep.
Because I like the book, I want to buy enough for my customers.
Yep.
And a lot of them, and I get it, because it was very expensive for them it's expensive to produce a comic book, but they were, the retailer tier would be like, maybe you got a 10% discount. And that's hard to justify as a retailer, because, if you're paying, $6-8 per copy of an indie book that nobody's ever heard of, it's like, well, I could spend that and get 3 issues of whatever Bat Dude or Spider Guy's doing.
Yeah, right.
And Bat Dude and Spider Guy are going to sell. So, the retailer puts their money into that. So what I really wanted to do with this, and thankfully Jerry came around on it, is we had to make it accessible so it made sense for retailers to buy these and then resell them to their customers.
Yeah.
We want the retailers to turn a profit on these.
That's amazing. Shoot, I'd say If you're out there, go open a comic book shop just so you can get the retailer.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, we will be responsible for the resurgence of local comic shops.
Yeah, man. Easy as that. Easy as that. So, I ultimately, what is your goal with the Dracula trilogy? Do you have an ultimate goal?
As many copies as possible.
Okay, that's a good goal.
I really and truly with this, I want to build a shared horror universe that revolves around Dracula. So I've already done Frankenstein in Prometheus in Chains. I have a book called Dorian in development, which is a play on the picture of Dorian Gray, where Dorian is an AI. It starts about. It looks like we're going to hit the porn industry in the early 2000s. When Pornhub's going crazy and there's no rules or all that stuff. And because that just makes perfect sense if you've read Dorian Gray. I mean, he would absolutely be a porn producer if he existed today.
Oh, he's all over OnlyFans. Okay, cool.
Exactly, yeah. And so, but then the story kind of expands, and we find out that Dorian is actually this kind of AI type thing. And so we spin that into Dracula, and it links to what happened in Prometheus in Chains. And so I want to start. I want to pull in all those classic Victorian characters, not just the big universal creatures, but some of the minor ones like the monk and the characters from Northanger Abbey, some of those darker horror stories. I want to pull them in and kind of tie it all to Dracula. So if I get to achieve my ultimate goal, there's going to be 10, 12 different titles that all take place in this world of Dracula. That's
amazing. So you just create a whole world full of characters interacting, sharing universes. That's amazing.
Yeah, I just hope I don't fuck it up.
Well, you haven't so far. You're 12 issues in and about to be 18.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have to imagine, Cult of Dracula, Rise of Dracula. I imagine they got very good feedback that fueled you into continuing. So
absolutely. When Cult of Dracula, you write your first, and I still imposter syndrome is a real thing. Every creator I talk to, artist, writer, whatever, we all share the same feeling. We're one bad book away from flipping burgers, and so I've always, it's felt weird to me for people to call me a successful comic creator. It's like, what does that mean? But yeah, it's achieved some success. The feedback has been incredible. And I'm humbled by it, and I'm glad they keep letting me tell these stories.
That's amazing. So what's next? You're about to complete the trilogy, one that you've worked over 10 years for. I guess you're building the world for the other characters, yeah. But are you working on anything else now, or what's next?
Yeah, so Dorian's going to be the next thing I work on after I finish Reign. I've also got a book called Here Be Dragons in development. It's heavy metal Vikings in space. So that's going to be really rad. I was just asked to write a superhero comic from a major publisher that I can't talk about right now. Jerry, I'll tell you about it later. So that's going to be fun. And the crazy thing about that is I've never wanted to write superheroes. Capes and tights just aren't my thing. So this is going to be fun. It's going to stretch my creative abilities. It's going to let me, play in somebody else's sandbox for a while. And that's kind of fun. And I'm really excited about it. So I was very, very happy to be given that opportunity, and looking forward to it. I will be announcing that when the publisher decides to make their announcements.
That's awesome, man. Well, great luck with this. Everybody go support it. If you're looking for it, just go to Kickstarter, search Reign of Dracula. If you haven't read Rise or Cult, you can get them bundled in the Kickstarter tier very easily. So you can get it caught up very quickly. Is there anything I missed?
No, I think you nailed it, man. You did it. Yeah, I think you should keep doing this podcast thing. You're pretty good at it.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's hope that continues. But in the meantime, I'm going to go bug Mike Zapsik to buy 1 million of those retailer incentives.
Please do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That would be rad. Awesome.
I'm going to play us out. I have the trailer, and then but everybody go check out the Kickstarter. You
Original music in that trailer composed by the artist Les Lyndon Garner. This dude is he's an artistic savant. He does it all, and he crushed this.
Amazing. Rich, sorry it took me so long to get back to you, but I'm a better late than never kind of guy. So thank you. And Jerry, Thorny Comics, check them out, support them. Grab a copy of Cicada Samurai, still out now. And yeah, great luck to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Sir.
you.
Always. Yeah, Rich Davis, Jerry Carita, Reign of Dracula. Grab it, tell all your friends, and then have them tell all their friends. And yeah, Rich, Jerry, you're both gonna take over the world. So I'm really happy to help you get over there. So so coming up next, here's the trailer for Reign of Dracula, launched now on Kickstarter. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys soon.
Right on.